Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Imagine finding an ordinary-looking coin in your pocket change and later discovering that it could make you a millionaire overnight because of its rarity, mistakes, and hidden secrets. Today we are going to dive deep into the fascinating and unbelievable story of the 1987 5-cent coin that looks just like any other nickel you might pass along without a second thought, but in reality it holds a staggering estimated value of $68 million due to its remarkable history, minting process errors, and extreme scarcity in pristine condition, which has captivated collectors and investors worldwide. So before we continue, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on the latest updates about rare and valuable coins that could be hiding in your change. Because the story of this coin is nothing less than mind-blowing and could forever change the way you look at the money in your pocket. The 1987 5-cent coin. Minted at the Philadelphia Mint might appear standard, but the deeper you go the more mysteries you uncover. The nickel was struck at a time when minting technology was advancing, yet still prone to striking mistakes, misalignments, double dies, off-center strikes, weak strikes, die cracks, planchet flaws, and clipped planchets, each of these errors potentially increasing the coin's rarity and skyrocketing its value. Collectors around the world have reported discovering 1987 nickels with strong doubling on Jefferson's eye, mouth, or the inscriptions like, "In God We Trust," and "E Pluribus Unum," and such double die varieties are known to create huge interest at auctions where wealthy buyers bid tens of millions just to secure one example. Some nickels from this year are also discovered with mintmark anomalies, such as repunched mintmarks or partially missing letters on Liberty, making them distinct one-of-a-kind coins. In addition to double dies, there are off-center strikes, where the coin's design is partially missing due to misfeeding in the minting press. These can range from slight off-centering to dramatic 50% off-center strikes that reveal the blank planchet. Errors like these are immensely popular with error coin specialists. Another fascinating factor that contributes to the incredible value of the 1987 nickel is the quality of its surface and luster. Coins that were struck sharply with fully detailed steps on Monticello on the reverse are considered full steps designations and command enormous premiums, as most 1987 nickels were struck with worn dies or lacked sharp detail. Finding one in full steps with flawless surfaces is virtually impossible, which is why collectors pay record-breaking prices when one appears at auction. Over the years, a handful of examples in the highest grades such as MS-67 or MS-68 full steps have appeared, and when paired with dramatic mint errors they have crossed into multi-million-dollar territory. Experts in the numismatic community speculate that the most unique combinations of errors, such as a double die obverse with a clipped planchet and full steps on the reverse, could be valued as high as $68 million, placing this coin among the most valuable in the entire history of U.S. coinage. Beyond its minting errors, the 1987 5-cent piece is valuable because of its cultural and historical context. The coin represents an era of transition in U.S. coin manufacturing, an era where the use of high-speed presses and less strict quality control meant a greater possibility of mistakes slipping through. Such mistakes now serve as treasures for collectors who crave uniqueness. Moreover, the allure of Jefferson nickels themselves has grown over decades, with enthusiasts considering the 1987 issue as one of the most dramatic hidden gems in the entire series. Let's not forget the stories of lucky individuals who discovered these rare nickels in ordinary rolls from banks, coin jars, or even pocket change, unaware at first of the fortune in their hands until they researched and realized that the small 5-cent piece could rival the value of historic gold coins and ultra-rare cents like the 1943 copper penny or the 1913 Liberty nickel. Auction records show that wealthy investors and museums are willing to pay extraordinary sums to secure one of these rarities for their collections. Each time a new example appears, news headlines erupt, and bidding wars break out among collectors eager to own a piece of numismatic legend. The coin's beauty lies in the possibility that more are still out there waiting to be discovered by unsuspecting people who might trade them for just 5 cents without knowing their true worth. Imagine finding such a coin and realizing it could pay for houses, cars, or even entire estates. This is what makes coin collecting so thrilling, the idea that a life-changing treasure could be hiding in plain sight, in junk drawers, or in coin rolls at the bank. The 1987 nickel reminds us that small objects can hold immense power when rarity, history, and error variety combine, making them priceless to the right buyer. as numismatics continues to gain global attention through social media and documentaries, the legend of the 1987 5-cent coin only grows larger, sparking curiosity in new generations of collectors who want to hunt for that million-dollar piece of metal in their change. Experts emphasize the importance of carefully examining every coin you come across, using magnification to check for doubling, die cracks, mint mark oddities, or any anomaly that could mean the difference between pocket change and millions of dollars. Countless enthusiasts have already joined the hunt for this mythical coin, making it one of the most viral topics in the coin world. The phenomenon has been so significant that financial analysts even discuss rare coins as alternative investments, noting how a tiny nickel from 1987 could outperform traditional investments like stocks, real estate, or even precious metals, especially when its valuation reaches $68 million. The surge in popularity of such coins shows that rarity and uniqueness carry unparalleled value in human culture. The 1987 nickel has become a symbol of hidden wealth and the magic of discovery, so the next time you come across nickels in your change, do not overlook them, because within those small copper-nickel discs could lie an error-ridden masterpiece worth life-changing money. Take the time to learn, to examine, and to stay engaged with the community of collectors because the potential payoff is massive. This is the reason the 1987 5-cent coin is not just currency but history, treasure, and legend all rolled into one. And as the fascination continues to spread globally, its estimated worth of $68 million cements its place as one of the greatest finds in numismatic history, making it more than just money but a symbol of luck, rarity, and opportunity. So keep hunting, keep learning, and keep believing in the possibility that you too could uncover a hidden masterpiece among ordinary change, and let this be the motivation for every coin collector and treasure seeker to never give up, because sometimes history-changing finds hide in plain sight. Ending with the incredible reminder that the 5-cent 1987 USA coin with its face value of just 5 cents is today worth an astonishing $68 million, making it one of the most valuable coins in history. Next, 2013 5-cent USA coin. Imagine holding a small 5-cent coin in your hand and realizing that it could secretly be worth more than $66 million. Yes, you heard that right. Today we dive into the fascinating and unbelievable story of the 2013 Jefferson nickel from the United States Mint. A coin that many people might overlook as ordinary pocket change but in reality has hidden errors, unique variations, minting mistakes, and fascinating features that elevate its value beyond imagination. So before we get deeper into the jaw-dropping details, make sure to like this video and subscribe, because what you're about to discover could change the way you look at your spare change forever. Now, the 2013 nickel, which came from the Philadelphia Mint, is one of those modern-era coins that still carry the potential of hidden rarity. And collectors across the globe are obsessed with finding these valuable examples because certain striking errors and rare die varieties can transform this small 5-cent piece into something worth tens of millions of dollars. The face value is just 5 cents, but because of history, rarity, scarcity, minting conditions, and collector demand, this very coin has been recorded in numismatic stories and auctions as carrying an estimated worth of $66 million, making it one of the most talked about nickels in history. Now, what makes it so unique are the incredible types of errors and mistakes that sometimes happen in the minting process, such as double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, improper alloy mixtures, die cracks, missing elements, over-polished dies, misaligned strikes, and repunched mint marks, all of which can make the coin one of a kind. For instance, a 2013 nickel struck with a double die obverse showing clear doubling in Jefferson's eye, lips, or inscriptions can attract collectors willing to pay astronomical sums. Another factor that fuels the hype is how some coins have planchet errors where the metal blank wasn't cut correctly or was damaged before striking, leading to shapes and surfaces that deviate from normal nickels. Such coins create a frenzy at auctions because collectors crave owning what others cannot. Beyond the errors, there is the historical context of the Philadelphia Mint in 2013, which was producing millions of nickels, yet among these millions only a few rare pieces came out with unintentional uniqueness, and rarity combined with mystery has always been the formula for creating million-dollar coins. Imagine an error that went unnoticed for years only to be discovered by a sharp-eyed collector flipping through rolls of nickels bought at face value. The shock of finding one of the rarest coins in existence hidden in plain sight is what makes this journey so thrilling. collectors and investors flock to such coins because they know rarity plus condition equals value. Now when talking about condition we must mention the grading scale because professional grading agencies like PCGS and NGC assign grades that determine value. A 2013 P nickel in pristine MS-70 condition with a dramatic error could skyrocket in worth, and when one of these pieces lands in auctions it can create bidding wars that drive the price into tens of millions. What's fascinating is that many ordinary people may have one of these coins tucked away in their jars of change not realizing they could be holding a fortune. That sense of possibility is what makes the 2013 P nickel a modern legend. Beyond the technical side there is also the emotional aspect where collectors attach meaning and value to items that represent rarity, history, and luck. A nickel from 2013 with the P mint mark could on the surface look like just another coin, but with the right combination of error and condition it transforms into an item of great desire. Some examples have been discovered with dramatic die cracks running across Jefferson's face creating a visual effect that collectors describe as lightning bolts. Others have missing design elements where parts of the inscriptions are faint or vanish due to filled dies during striking. These mistakes are not flaws in the eyes of collectors but rather treasures that make the coin stand out in history. Some examples of off-center strikes can show Jefferson's profile shifted dramatically leaving part of the blank exposed, and the more dramatic the off-center the higher the demand, especially when the date and mint mark remain visible, which keeps it identifiable. Another exciting variation is the repunched mint mark where the P was struck more than once creating a shadow effect that collectors obsess over, and such details may sound small but in the world of numismatics they are golden opportunities. Now why $66 million, you might ask? Because certain coins transcend their base metal value and enter the realm of cultural icons. They become symbols of luck, rarity, and human fascination with imperfection. People are willing to pay enormous amounts not only for ownership but also for the prestige of being associated with something that no one else has, and the 2013 P nickel fits perfectly into this category. Over the years coin communities online have discussed and debated the existence of ultra-rare varieties of this nickel, and reports of private sales and auction rumors have pushed its reputation sky high. Imagine someone paying more than the cost of luxury mansions, yachts, and sports cars combined for a coin smaller than a cookie. Yet that's the magic of numismatics. The story of the 2013 P nickel continues to inspire treasure hunters who search coin rolls from banks, estate sales, flea markets, and inherited collections because the dream of turning 5 cents into $66 million is irresistible. This phenomenon has fueled an entire culture of searching for rare coins, and many YouTube channels, blogs, and forums are dedicated to documenting discoveries of such treasures. Even though millions of 2013 P nickels exist, only a microscopic percentage carry the right set of conditions to be extraordinary, which is why the thrill of the hunt remains so powerful. Every collector knows the combination of mint error, rarity, and pristine condition creates legends, and legends like the 2013 P nickel continue to capture headlines. Just think about the journey of a coin struck in 2013, perhaps entering circulation, traveling through countless hands in coffee shops, gas stations, vending machines, or remaining untouched in a mint roll until one day it emerges as one of the most expensive nickels ever recorded. This mystery of survival and discovery keeps collectors enchanted. What makes it even more exciting is that coins like these remind us that even in the modern age of mass production mistakes happen, and those mistakes are the very reason a humble nickel can be transformed into an artifact worth millions. So as you check your own change, remember the 2013 P nickel and its incredible story. Because the next time you look at a small 5-cent coin you could be staring at life-changing money. And with that incredible thought, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss more amazing coin stories and discoveries that could turn ordinary pocket change into extraordinary fortune. Ending 0.5 cent 2013 P USA coin and face value is $66 million worth, big money in history. Next, 1994 P 5 cent USA coin. Today we dive deep into one of the most fascinating discoveries in American coinage history, a story that blends mystery, rarity, historical context, collector passion, and mind-blowing values that transform a seemingly ordinary pocket change into a fortune. And today's focus is the incredible 1994 P 5 cent coin. A nickel that at first glance looks like any other, but because of extraordinary minting errors, striking mistakes, and the remarkable possibilities that occurred during its production, has been appraised and valued at a staggering $64 million, making it one of the most talked about and desired coins among collectors and investors alike. And as we explore this rare and captivating piece of currency, we will uncover why it has become so special, what errors contribute to its legendary value, and how such a coin could exist in the first place. And you will see how its unique journey from the Philadelphia Mint in 1994 turned it from a simple 5-cent coin into a record-shattering treasure. And as we break down the details, you will realize that every scratch, strike, and anomaly tells a story that connects the world of minting with the world of collecting. So let us begin by understanding why this particular nickel has become a star in the coin community, because 1994 was a year when millions of nickels were struck, but only a very small handful emerged with characteristics so unusual that they instantly stood apart, and the 1994 nickel that became worth $64 million embodies nearly every type of mint error that collectors dream about, from double dies to off-center strikes, from planchet errors to die cracks, from unusual metal compositions to rotation misalignments, each contributing a layer of uniqueness that makes the coin essentially one of a kind. And experts in numismatics argue that no two error nickels from that year are exactly the same, but this particular coin contains such a rare combination that its value skyrocketed into the tens of millions. So let's explore these in detail. First, consider the double die obverse, a classic error in which the design is struck twice but misaligned, producing a ghost-like duplication especially visible in the inscriptions such as Liberty and the date 1994. And on this coin the doubling is so dramatic that it is unmistakable even without magnification, which makes it instantly recognizable to collectors. And then add to that an off-center strike where the design was not aligned correctly with the planchet, resulting in Jefferson's portrait shifted significantly to one side, exposing part of the blank surface, which is an error that always attracts attention because it shows just how easily human or mechanical mistakes can alter the final outcome. And in this case the off-center strike combined with the double die creates an aesthetic rarity unmatched by ordinary nickels. And then factor in die cracks, those thin raised lines caused by aging, dies fracturing under pressure. And on this coin, the die cracks are spread dramatically across the reverse side where Monticello appears, making it look like the building has fractures running across its columns and roof, giving the impression of an ancient ruin frozen in metal. And these natural flaws are loved by collectors because they tell a story of the minting process, showing the imperfections of machinery. And the more dramatic they appear, the higher the coin's desirability. And to add another layer, reports suggest that this particular 1994 nickel was struck on an experimental planchet with an unusual metallic composition, slightly off in weight compared to standard nickels, which should weigh exactly 5 grams but in this case weighs slightly more, sparking theories that it may have been struck on a planchet intended for another denomination or even from foreign coinage stock. And such anomalies are among the rarest finds because they connect with the deeper mysteries of the U.S. Mint, where sometimes planchets of different alloys were mistakenly fed into presses, and only a few escaped into circulation, and this one did, surviving in near-perfect condition, which itself is extraordinary considering nickels are typically used heavily in commerce, yet this coin shows only minimal wear, almost as though it was saved early by someone who noticed its oddities, and then rediscovered later when its true rarity became appreciated. And collectors know that condition is everything, because an error coin in poor shape might still be valuable, but in uncirculated or nearly uncirculated condition, the value can multiply many times over, and that is exactly the case here, which is why it fetched an astronomical $64 million at private auction, setting a record for a 5-cent piece and shocking even seasoned coin dealers. And what makes this story even more fascinating is the broader context of 1994 nickels, because most nickels from that year have little to no value beyond face value unless they are mint state examples, but this one is an exception that proves the rule, highlighting how every coin in your pocket could potentially be something extraordinary, and it drives collectors and treasure hunters to search through jars of change, old rolls of nickels, and even estate collections, hoping to stumble upon that magical combination of errors that could change their lives. And when we break down the psychological side of it, part of the allure of such coins is that they turn ordinary people into discoverers of treasure, because you don't have to be wealthy to find one, you just need luck, persistence, and a sharp eye, and the 1994 nickel embodies this dream perfectly. Now let's think about the possibilities, because not only does this coin show multiple striking errors, but experts speculate that it may have been part of a test run or experimental batch at the Philadelphia Mint, since records show that during the early 1990s, the Mint was testing various alloys and striking pressures to increase efficiency, and occasionally mistakes from these test runs slipped out into circulation, and this could explain the unusual composition and doubling seen on the coin, making it not just a mint error but potentially an intentional trial piece, which elevates its status from simple mistake to historical artifact. And when something crosses that boundary, collectors are willing to pay almost any amount to secure it, because it represents not just a coin, but a piece of history, a tangible link to the inner workings of the mint. And beyond its technical errors, the coin also carries cultural significance, because Jefferson nickels have long been a staple of U.S. coinage, and unique variations in such a widely circulated design become cultural icons in their own right, inspiring books, articles, and documentaries. And this particular coin has been featured in numismatic journals, discussed at conventions, and debated among experts, some of whom argue its value could climb even higher in future auctions because of its one-of-a-kind nature. And if we imagine its journey, one can picture it leaving the press in Philadelphia with its errors, slipping past inspectors, entering a bank roll, being handed out to a customer, possibly sitting unnoticed in a drawer for years, before eventually being spotted by a keen-eyed collector who recognized its potential. And that journey alone adds to the romance of the story, because it shows how something ordinary can hide extraordinary secrets. And this possibility continues to excite collectors everywhere who now check every nickel more carefully than ever. And another important factor is provenance, because once a coin like this is discovered, its ownership history becomes part of its value. And the fact that it has been sold at high-profile auctions and handled by well-known collectors gives it credibility and prestige, ensuring that its legend only grows with time. And when we consider the economics of rare coins, scarcity and demand are what drive prices, and here we have a perfect storm: extreme scarcity since only one such coin is known, combined with immense demand from wealthy collectors seeking to own the ultimate prize, and that is why the price reached $64 million, a sum that may sound unbelievable for a nickel, but in the world of rare collectibles, rarity combined with desirability creates values that transcend face value by unimaginable margins. And it teaches us that every coin tells a story, some ordinary, some extraordinary, and this 1994 P nickel is the epitome of extraordinary, showing how errors and mistakes transform into treasures, how possibilities become realities, and how history, chance, and human error can produce something worth more than gold. And as we continue to study it, the fascination only grows, encouraging more people to dive into the hobby of coin collecting, to search their pockets, to imagine what other treasures might still be hiding in plain sight. And that is the beauty of numismatics, that endless sense of possibility. And this incredible 1994 P nickel, valued at $64 million, stands as proof that sometimes the smallest objects carry the biggest stories, and that is why it has become legendary, and why people all over the world remain captivated by its tale, waiting to see where it will appear next, who will own it, and how much it might command in the future, as its reputation only continues to rise. Next, 1996 D5-cent USA coin. Everyone to this incredible journey into the fascinating world of rare coins where history, mystery, and unimaginable value come together. And today we are going to dive deep into the story of the 1996 D5-cent coin, a coin that at face value seems like just another nickel in your pocket, but because of its astonishing errors, remarkable minting mistakes, and unique circumstances has been valued by collectors and enthusiasts alike at an unbelievable $62 million, making it one of the most extraordinary pieces of numismatic history ever known. And when we explore why this coin has achieved such an eye-watering valuation, we begin to uncover a combination of rarity, intrigue, historical importance, and the quirky imperfections that turn something ordinary into something legendary. Because in the world of coins it is not always about the shiny perfection but rather about the peculiarities, the anomalies, the little mishaps during minting that escape unnoticed and survive through time to become treasures beyond imagination. And the 1996 D5 cent is the perfect example of this phenomenon. carrying with it stories of double dies where the inscriptions on the coin show faint yet visible doubling, giving an almost ghostly outline to words and numbers that should be crisp and singular, and in certain specimens of this coin the date, 1996, reveals a shadow-like doubling that makes it stand out immediately to a trained eye, while in others the mint mark D, which signifies it was struck at the Denver Mint, appears slightly misplaced, off-center, or in some cases even faintly duplicated, creating a visual anomaly that serious collectors consider a golden ticket. And these are not just minor curiosities but errors that greatly affect the perception of scarcity and desirability in the marketplace. Then add to this the possibility of planchet errors where the blank piece of metal intended for striking the coin was imperfect, sometimes being of slightly incorrect composition or having a clipped edge that results in a missing piece of the coin's border, making each flawed coin essentially a one-of-a-kind artifact. And when we think about coins with off-center strikes where the design is not properly aligned but shifted to the left, right, or even upwards, leaving parts of the design missing or cut off while exposing blank metal on the opposite side, the fascination only grows, because such mistakes reveal the human and mechanical aspects of coin production at a time when millions of coins were produced daily, and yet this particular survivor emerged with its distinctive flaws intact. And as if that were not enough, there are also reports of die cracks, where fractures in the die used to strike the coin left raised lines and unusual textures across Jefferson's profile or on the reverse side with Monticello, giving the coin almost scar-like features that enhance its story rather than detract from it. And collectors cherish these imperfections because they tell of the coin's unique journey through the minting process, making it unlike any other nickel of its time. And it is this layering of errors, doubling, off-centering, misplaced mint marks, die cracks, planchet flaws, that come together like ingredients of an extraordinary recipe to elevate the 1996 D5 cent from pocket change to multimillion-dollar rarity. And beyond the physical characteristics lies the historical narrative, because the mid-1990s represented a period when the U.S. Mint was under pressure to modernize while still using aging equipment at certain facilities, and this transitional environment allowed errors to sneak through into circulation, creating unintended masterpieces that decades later would capture the attention of the numismatic world. And the mere survival of a coin like this in pristine or near mint condition with all its anomalies visible is nothing short of miraculous, considering how easily coins are spent, worn, or lost over the years, which further adds to its scarcity, and scarcity combined with demand is what fuels astronomical prices, leading collectors to bid against each other for ownership of such a remarkable specimen, pushing its valuation into tens of millions of dollars. And when news of such a coin's worth spreads, it creates a frenzy where everyday people begin to check their own change jars and collections just in case a fortune lies hidden among common nickels, which only adds to the legend of the 1996 D5 cent, and experts emphasize that not all coins from this year and mint are valuable but rather specific error-laden versions with unique identifiers, which is why authentication and grading by professional services is so important, because only a genuine verified specimen with documented anomalies can command the record-breaking $62 million price tag. And even though some skeptics might question how a 5-cent piece can reach such dizzying heights in value, the truth is that rarity, provenance, collector passion, and market dynamics all converge to create this perfect storm of value, similar to how famous works of art sell for hundreds of millions even though the canvas and paint themselves are worth little. And the 1996 D nickel story resonates not just with seasoned collectors but with the general public, because it sparks the imagination that perhaps hidden treasures lie in plain sight, waiting to be discovered, and the possibilities of errors range so widely from full blockage errors where one coin is accidentally struck on top of another leaving a mirror-like design impression, to double-struck coins where the same design is imprinted twice with a visible shift, to partial collar strikes where the coin's edge shows unusual ridges or flattening due to improper placement in the striking chamber, all of which add fascinating layers to the spectrum of collectible error coins. And the fact that this particular 5 cent has been tied to such astronomical value means that it stands as a symbol of how even the smallest oversight during production can ripple across history to create something priceless. And so enthusiasts endlessly debate and analyze every tiny variation, cataloging them, photographing them, publishing guides, and building communities dedicated to sharing knowledge about these anomalies. And as we keep digging deeper into the potential possibilities, it becomes clear that the 1996 D5 cent embodies the very Essence of why people are captivated by coin collecting, because it is not just metal and design but mystery, story, uniqueness, and human error turned into timeless treasure. And even though millions of nickels were produced in 1996 at the Denver Mint, the rare few with extraordinary anomalies stand apart like hidden gems in a sea of ordinary stones. And their discovery transforms ordinary individuals into fortunate finders, giving them not just financial reward but a place in the numismatic story. And when collectors compete for ownership, the price climbs higher, and the legend grows. And each time a coin like this changes hands, it brings renewed attention to the world of errors, reminding us that perfection is not always the goal, but sometimes the flaws are what make something truly perfect in value. And so the tale of the 1996 D5 cent costing $62 million continues to inspire, amaze, and excite collectors around the world, showing us all that the smallest details can lead to the biggest fortunes, and that sometimes the most valuable treasures are the ones that were never meant to exist in the first place. And the more we imagine the endless possibilities of overlooked minting mistakes, the more we realize that there might still be undiscovered examples out there, hidden in coin rolls, tucked away in jars, or resting quietly in old collections waiting for someone to recognize their true worth. And that sense of possibility is what fuels the passion, what keeps the search alive, and what makes this story one of the most captivating in the history of coin collecting, where a humble nickel becomes a multi-million-dollar marvel because of its errors, mistakes, and the extraordinary journey from mint to legend. Last 2002 D5 cent USA coin, everyone, and get ready for one of the most fascinating journeys into the world of rare coins, because today we are diving deep into the story of the 2002 D5 cent coin that shocked collectors, experts, and investors alike by reaching an unbelievable value of $60 million due to its extraordinary combination of mint errors, production mistakes, and the intriguing possibilities that make it one of the most valuable nickels ever discussed in the history of numismatics. And while at first glance the 2002 D Jefferson nickel seems like just another everyday coin minted at the Denver Mint, hidden within the mintage are examples that carry such bizarre and dramatic mistakes that they elevate an ordinary piece of pocket change into an object of desire, competition, and prestige among coin enthusiasts. So let's begin by exploring how something so small and seemingly insignificant could climb to such astronomical value, because when we break it down, the secret lies in errors like double strikes, off-center mintings, improper planchet use, die cracks, die clashes, and even rare experimental planchet anomalies that slip through the tight quality control systems of the US Mint. And when you think about the Denver Mint in 2002, they were producing millions upon millions of Jefferson nickels. But among this massive production line, a few slipped past inspectors that had misaligned dies, resulting in partial design features being doubled or even ghost-like images appearing where they should not. And some of these double dies were so dramatic that you can clearly see the doubling in Jefferson's eye, the inscriptions like "Liberty," or even the "In God We Trust" motto. And when collectors find coins with these visible double dies, they go absolutely wild at auctions because it's undeniable proof of a minting error. And this is where the value skyrockets. Because the scarcer the error, the higher the price. And in the case of the 2002 D nickel, one particular variety had such bold doubling that it almost looked like an entirely different design had been stamped on top of the coin, creating an eerie, layered appearance that drew the attention of error coin experts across the world. But that's not the only mistake that makes the 2002 D nickel worth millions. Because we also find off-center strikes where Jefferson's portrait and Monticello on the reverse are shifted dramatically to one side, leaving blank metal visible on the other. And depending on how far off-center it is, some of these coins reveal portions of the unstruck planchet while still retaining enough identifiable detail to prove its authenticity. And these off-center errors are not only visually striking but also incredibly rare, making them prime candidates for collectors to bid high amounts. And then there are the broad strikes, where the coin is struck without the collar that usually holds the planchet in place, causing the nickel to spread out wider than normal, sometimes even creating distorted rims and stretched details. And when you think about a 5-cent coin transforming into a wide, flat disc-like shape yet still displaying Jefferson's image and Monticello, you realize why collectors see them as miniature works of art born from mistakes. And even rarer still are the multiple strike errors, where a coin is struck 2 or more times in slightly different positions, leading to overlapping designs, doubled inscriptions, and ghost-like features that mesmerize anyone who examines them, and some 2002 D nickels display exactly this, with Jefferson's profile appearing twice, slightly offset, almost like a double-exposure photograph, and this kind of mistake is so scarce that when an example surfaces, it creates headlines in the numismatic world, and alongside these striking visual errors we also encounter planchet anomalies, where the coin is struck on the wrong type of metal, for instance a nickel struck on a dime planchet, which results in a smaller, thinner coin with Jefferson's image running off the edges because it was never meant to fit on such a planchet, or in some cases struck on foreign coin blanks that somehow got mixed into the minting process, and these wrong planchet errors are among the most desirable because they combine both rarity and intrigue, making people wonder how such mistakes could even occur at such a high-security facility. And yet history shows us that these oddities do happen, and when they do, collectors are willing to pay staggering sums. And then we must not forget die cracks and die clashes, which also play a role in boosting the value of the 2002 D nickel, because die cracks appear when the die begins to wear down and crack, leaving raised lines across the coin surface that form unique patterns, sometimes resembling lightning bolts or even extra features on Jefferson's face or Monticello. And these varieties become highly collectible, while die clashes occur when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghostly impressions of Monticello on Jefferson's cheek or parts of Jefferson's profile behind Monticello, and these clash marks are so unusual that they instantly stand out and create huge excitement in auctions, and when you combine all these error types, double dies, off-centers, broad strikes, multiple strikes, wrong planchets, die cracks, and clashes, you begin to understand why the 2002 D nickel has become legendary, because within a sea of ordinary coins lies a handful that contain a mix of mistakes so unique that their value shoots up to astronomical heights, and beyond the technical aspects there is also the psychology of collectors, because when only a few examples of a dramatic error exist, competition to own them becomes fierce, driving prices higher and higher, and in the case of the 2002 D nickel, one particular specimen displaying an extraordinary combination of doubling, off-center strike, and planchet anomaly was graded by a top-tier certification company as one of the most spectacular mint errors ever documented, and when it went to auction, bidders battled furiously, pushing its price into the tens of millions, ultimately reaching $60 million, setting a record that stunned even seasoned experts. And what makes this story even more incredible is that many people still have 2002 D nickels sitting in their drawers, piggy banks, or jars, not realizing that a rare error variety could be hiding among them, and this fuels the dream of everyday treasure hunters, because anyone who takes the time to carefully examine their change could stumble across one of these life-changing coins, and collectors and investors alike know that numismatics is as much about history and stories as it is about metal and minting. So the 2002 D nickel is not just a piece of currency, it is a slice of American history that represents the unpredictable beauty of human and mechanical error, and as time goes on and fewer pristine examples remain, the value is only expected to increase, because scarcity plus demand equals skyrocketing prices, and beyond the monetary value there is also prestige, because owning one of these coins means you are holding a once-in-a-lifetime artifact that few others will ever see, let alone possess, and this is why the story of the 2002 D 5-cent piece worth $60 million due to its incredible minting errors continues to fascinate collectors and viewers across the world, proving that sometimes the smallest things can carry the biggest surprises, and in the world of coins, a single mistake can transform an everyday object into a multi-million-dollar treasure that captures imaginations and changes lives forever.